What's up, everybody? It's been about a week or two, actually about a week and a half since I put a video out. Wanted to give everybody an update on the Cube. Right now there's absolutely nothing new going on with it as far as new purchases, equipment, livestock, or whatever. I'm kind of in a maintain mode right now since I'm going to be upgrading. The upgrade's still a long way out. I mean, it took me about a year to get everything together for the Cube tank, but and it'll probably take me about 6 months to a year to get a replacement tank where the freshwater 75-gallon was. So everything's doing good. I don't know if I'm going to drive to Louisville or if I'm going to place an order, but I'd like to buy a few more pieces of coral. But everything that I have is doing really well. The Scully here was stung at one point by a Refugium, and it's doing good. And it's one of the more expensive pieces in the tank, so I'm hoping that it continues to do good. But overall, everything's doing really well. I'm not doing anything special. The only thing that I have done is I was feeding the fish every other day, and I've stepped that up to every day unless for some reason we get busy at the house and I just don't have time to feed them or whatever. But that's the only thing different that I'm doing. And I am spot feeding the coral about once a week with the Refugiums. So, you know, I can't say there's a positive or a negative to it or whatever. I do know that whenever I spot feed with the Refugiums, of course, the shrimp is coming over and trying to grab as much of the food as possible, and that's fine. You know, it's what the shrimp do. But everything's going well. Did all my water testing over the weekend, and everything's coming back good. I have slacked a little bit on the water changes. I've been doing 5 gallons every 2 weeks, and I'm going to do my best to do 5 gallons once a week, just so I can get on a better routine. And now that I only have one tank to maintain, you know, it should be pretty easy to do. I am in the process of configuring a water change, or let me rephrase that, a water mixing station. I found the containers that I want to order, so now I just need to order them. And this will set me up for the bigger tank also. So I'm kind of on the fence. I'm probably going to at least get a 75-gallon tank to hold RODI water, and then a 40 or 45-gallon tank to hold salt water. And I'm going to build a stand or have a stand built for me. I'm not sure, but I'm getting vertical tanks so they don't take up as much room. I know you can use the brute trash cans, but the diameter of them are a little bit bigger than I want. Everything in the sump is doing well. The Cheetomorpha that I got from 915 Main is growing extremely well, especially since, you know, I don't have, that's just a few fish in the system. So my nutrients aren't really all that high, but nonetheless, I flip the Cheeto about every 3 or 4 days, but it's grown significantly in the time period that I've had it. And you can see here that the sump, or the Refugium area is a mess, and, you know, overall the sump is a mess anyway. And for whatever reason, you can see the debris down here, and I'm pointing to it. It's kind of hard to see, but at the bottom there, it's actually part of the return chamber, the very bottom of the sump. And then, of course, it has the platform that the skimmer sits on. But for whatever reason, my skimmer was extremely dirty, and the water volume inside of my skimmer section got too high, which caused the skimmer to overflow, which was fine because the collection cup didn't have a lot of skimmate in it to begin with. But the body of the skimmer was extremely dirty. But by the water level rising in the skimmer section and it overflowing the skimmer, it cleaned it out, and now I have a ton of debris in my sump, and I'll probably pull it out at one point and clean it or whatever. But it's just a little shot of a snail that's in the Refugium area. I got a couple snails in there to kind of help things out, and of course you can see here that my lid for my overflow is working. Of course, there's a snail that's trying to climb up, and I have picked a few snails off of the top of the lid, But they always congregate right here on top of that rock. I'm assuming it's because the light is so intense there, so there's algae and whatnot to eat. As far as the cleaner shrimp, he or she, whomever it is doing really well. It's actually molted 4 or 5 times now, and it's pretty cool. You know, I've never seen it personally, but I'll look in the tank and I'll see the molt, and I just leave that in there, and it just kind of takes its course. I guess the snails and whatnot grab it. The beginning of the video, I should say, when you were watching the coral, that was taken with the gel filter, and I believe for the rest of the video, I just turned the blues all the way down, or most of the way down, and we're going to look at the whites, minus this part right here. But the clownfish are doing well. They're kind of skittish for whatever reason, and of course the tank is in the kitchen, and it's the kitchen's open to the living room, but there's not a lot of activity where this tank is. And they congregate at the back of the tank all the time for whatever reason. But they're doing well. They look really good. They're eating really well. As soon as I drop pellets in the tank, they're all over them. Everything's doing pretty good for the most part. You know, as far as fish are concerned, I don't really have any that I want to pick up right now. If I just see something that I like, I'll probably jump on the opportunity. But I know of a few pieces of coral that I'd like to pick up. I'd like to get at least one more piece that actually does sway back and forth in the tank. And you know, if I do make a road trip, if I can find a couple pieces of SPS that are relatively cheap, I'll probably pick up a couple of those. So I actually have an RW4 on the back panel of the tank, and it's set on like a short pulse mode. And I really like the RW4s on my upgrade. Initially, I'm probably going to go like RW8s or RW15s. This is the Vortec MP10, and it is not the quiet drive, and I can tell for sure. I haven't decided if I want to update the driver or not. It's like $50 to update the driver to a quiet drive. This is just showing you the wave and the emergency hole that I had in my return. And of course here you can see I am dealing with a little bit of algae issues. It's not a lot. All right, I'm going to go ahead and end the video now. Be sure to subscribe. I got a lot of changes coming within next year, and I appreciate everyone's support. So reef on.